Talk about the Senate for 2024 because the Republicans are mildly encouraged now. Joe Manchin has decided he will not run for re-election in 2024. And that is going to give the GOP an easy pickup. So right now, in the elections for the 2024, you're going to have big swing states. You will have Montana, you'll have Arizona, you'll have Nevada again. You'll have Wisconsin, you'll have Michigan, you'll have Ohio, you'll have Pennsylvania, you'll have West Virginia, and then you got some open states as well. But by and large, you've got states that lean towards the GOP and can give the GOP an advantage. So how does this shape up? Let me just give you the list for the Senate. Just so you understand, you got Arizona, Florida, Maine, Michigan, Montana, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Virginia, Wisconsin, and West Virginia will be the big states. And those states are the wobbly ones. On top of that, you've got the open seat in California. You got Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Indiana, Massachusetts, Maryland, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, North Dakota, Nebraska, two in Nebraska because Pete Ricketts has a special election there, New Mexico, New York, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, Washington, Wyoming. We can ignore those. We can ignore those because those seats you're going to have a lock. They're like no Democrat is going to win Utah, even though it's an open seat. No Republican is going to win Maryland, even though it's an open seat. No Republican is going to win Delaware, though it'll be an open seat. Tom Carper retiring. California, open seat for 2024. No Republican's going to win it. Of these others, however, you do have some states that give the GOP hope. Now, here's what you need to understand as well. In the current United States Senate, there are 51 Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents. There are 49 Republicans. In the 118th Congress, 51-49 control of the Senate. It makes it difficult for the Democrats because Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema have been largely independent. With Joe Manchin retiring, that's an automatic pickup for the GOP. So automatically next year, it'll be 50 Republicans guaranteed, barring disaster. If the Republicans win the White House, that means they control the Senate. But what of the other seats? Well, you got Arizona and Montana and Ohio. John Tester in Montana should be an easy pickoff for the GOP, except Montana has a history of being Republican at the local level and Democrat at the federal level. Remember, Greg Gianforte, the governor, was on with me 2 days ago. He's the first Republican governor of Montana since 2005. And you've got John Tester has been there for a while. The Republicans poured everything they could with Donald Trump on the ballot, and Tester won. And he won in large part because Donald Trump was a motivating factor for the liberals in Missoula to turn out. It was a very close race, but Tester won. Tester is a prime target for the GOP, and they have a fantastic candidate, Tim Chee. He was in the military. He's got a great bio, and he could win. The remarkable thing here is in West Virginia. Say what you will about Mitch McConnell, and I've said much. Mitch McConnell did everything possible to recruit the governor of Pennsylvania into that race, and it worked. And that was enough for Joe Manchin. Every single poll that has come out of West Virginia has showed Joe Manchin losing to the incumbent Republican governor. The bridge too far for Joe Manchin, ironically, was the Inflation Reduction Act. Joe Manchin committed to get it passed. He thought it would help him with the Democrats, except the Democrats then used it as the Green New Deal vehicle, and that has cost Joe Manchin his election. Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney are being recruited to run as a ticket, as a third-party ticket for no labels. I don't know that they will. But if the election for the United States Senate were held today, Republicans would get 50 seats because they would win West Virginia. That leaves 3 really leaning seats. Arizona with Kristen Sinema, Montana with Jon Tester, Ohio with Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown, Democrats are looking at this abortion referendum on the Constitution in Ohio and thinking that helps them next year. That's not true. Republican J.D. Vance won in a hard year for the GOP in 2022. Mike DeWine, the governor there, is really popular. He'll be helping. Republicans have some good recruits that they're looking for that race, including the owner of the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians. Republicans could easily win Ohio. That guarantees them, whether they win the presidency or not, they're going to win the Senate. Then there is Pennsylvania. Dave McCormick is running in Pennsylvania this time. He lost to Dr. Oz by 1/10 of a point in the Republican primary in 2022. Oz went on to lose to Fetterman. In 2024, there will be a presidential machine that helps, but that actually gives the Democrats the advantage in Pennsylvania. But Bob Casey Jr. is not that popular. It's possible for Dave McCormick to beat Casey. It is. Now, that one's less likely, but McCormick has a lot of money, and he's got a good ground game operation already built up there. He would have won that primary, but for Trump's endorsement, Trump was pushed by Sean Hannity and Melania Trump to endorse Dr. Oz, and he did. And at that early election, McCormick won, but same-day voters went for Oz barely, and Oz won. In Arizona, never underestimate the power of Kari Lake and the Republicans to screw it up. Kari Lake is running in Arizona for the Senate, and if she is the Republican nominee, that probably ensures the Democrats win. Kari Lake lost the lost the gubernatorial race and has won as a sore loser ever since. She's the Stacey Abrams of Arizona, a trans winner. She identifies as a winner even though she's a loser. And I don't put much stock in her winning the Arizona Senate race. So that really gives us Montana and Ohio. And if the Republicans win Montana and Ohio, they've picked up 2 additional seats beyond West Virginia, and they'll have a 52-seat majority in the Senate. That is a good one. It's actually what we need to be able to take the Senate. Now, how does this play out otherwise? If the GOP gets 50-50 and the vice president becomes a Republican, then the GOP holds the Senate with 50 seats. Never underestimate the ability of the Republicans to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, so it may just be a 50-seat Republican majority in the Senate. But I do suspect if they reject Kari Lake, and I don't actually believe the Republicans will reject Kari Lake. I think the Republicans in Arizona have become suicidal. They want to destroy their own party inside out, so they will pick Kari Lake, and so they'll lose Arizona. But of Ohio and Montana, the Republicans in both of those states tend to have it together. And I suspect the Republicans of Ohio and Montana both could go to the GOP because Biden is so unpopular. And the Ohio GOP does have it together. Yes, they lost the abortion amendment, but now the Democrats can't fuel outrage over abortion. In Ohio, the Democrats will not be able to scare the people of Ohio on abortion because it's now in their constitution. So they've taken that off the table now, and that actually hurts Sherrod Brown for next year. And then in Montana, the state has moved more and more Republican. One of the agitating factors that's moved that state to the GOP is all the California transplants coming in. It's made the native Montanans more Republican. And that helps too. Between the two of them, I think the GOP can get Ohio and can get Montana even as they lose Arizona. Now, the other one is the question of Nevada. The GOP came close in Nevada, and you got Jackie Rosen running in Nevada. And if the GOP fields the right candidate, remember Joe Lombardo won the governor's mansion there. It is possible, Jackie Rosen's in her first term, it is possible the GOP picks up Nevada if they get the right candidate. There's also Michigan. It's going to be an open seat. Michigan went solidly to the Democrats in 2022. For the first time in 40 years, Democrats control everything. Michigan could swing back. They could correct. Trump and the Trump machine were actually a factor in Michigan. The independent voters and 13% of the Republicans were so tired of the stolen election nonsense, they just voted Democrat out of spite. That might have taught them a lesson now, and they may be willing to come back and say, okay, we've had enough of this. We need a Republican. That could actually help the GOP. They got a good candidate in Michigan running. So that might be a pickup. Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, it was going to be tough, but the GOP could do that. When Casey's got name recognition, his dad had been a popular governor there. But they're going to get West Virginia. Maybe they'll get Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin. I doubt it, but maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe Glenn Youngkin will run against Tim Kaine and win that one in Virginia. I doubt it, but it's possible. Now, never underestimate the Republicans to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Ted Cruz and Rick Scott in Florida and Texas, I expect they're going to win, but they'll be resource-intensive races. But here's the problem. You add into all that the Trump factor. If Donald Trump is the Republican nominee because of his legal bills, and this is only because of legal bills, I'm making this point, the Republican National Committee and donors will have to offset all the money that's gone to the lawyers and spend a lot of their money on Trump. That will cost them opportunity in the Senate because every dollar that goes to Trump doesn't go to build up these individuals. And that's part of the problem here is Trump as the nominee increases the cost to win the Senate outright without a vice presidential seat because all the money's going to go to help him. It's not going to go help these other people. So in Montana and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Arizona and Michigan and the like, there will be some overlap with the ground game, but not a lot. These individual candidates also need their own individual identity to be able to run well, and they won't have the money if Trump's the nominee because all the money goes to him because all his current money has gone to the legal bills, and that's something the GOP has to think about moving forward. But at the same time, if the election were held today, the Republicans would win West Virginia. That would give them 50 seats in the Senate. You need a Republican vice president to break the tie, but it's possible for 2024.
You can